And now we are. Now we are live. Hi, everyone. This is Brad with Paintball Therapy. And today, or right now, I am talking with Ken and Rob from Kinetic Paintball. And we are going to have a conversation, and we wanted to welcome you. So welcome, Ken and Rob.
Thank you. We appreciate being here.
Absolutely. Please, how I like to start off everything, even with the people that I've known for a long time, I'd like to say, how did you get involved in paintball? Because it will eventually bring us to the story of Kinetic Paintball, I'm assuming. So whoever wants to start, feel free to start.
Yeah, I think, Ken, you should start since you've been in paintball a little bit longer than I have.
Yeah, except you're way better than I am. So I actually started, I must have been 12 or 13. My aunt bought me a Tipton 98 custom against my parents' wishes. And that's kind of how it started. And I started playing competitively, like tournament ball. I was like 16. So, it's like 2007, 2006. And then I didn't really play a national tournament actually till college. And that's actually where I met Rob. At Temple University, and he was in college. I was in law school at the time. I was trying to find a way to not study, of course. And since then, it's kind of just play on and off. I never really played seriously, to be honest.
But you played in the NCPA, is that correct?
Yeah, I played in the NCPA, and then I usually play like 1 10-man a year. Is what I do.
And you play. Okay, so you play 10-man. Okay. I'm adding Jules in. Here's Jules, Julian Malacheski, everyone.
Hey, Jules.
He wanted to come in and have a conversation and join in with us, so that's fantastic. So you said that you played a 10-man. What 10-man event did you play, or are you going to play?
So I usually play like the one that's closer to my house for the NXL. So 3 years ago was Atlantic City, and then last year was the Philadelphia event. So I played that.
Okay, so at the NXL you played the 10-man, and is that did they have the classic version when you were playing, or were you playing on the airball fields with the ramping guns?
The airball fields with the ramping guns. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I haven't tried it. I'd like to. 10-man at the NXL, because I'm far more of a classic kind of guy. If I play 10-man, it's at the classic events. But I love paintball. I love airball. I love 10-man. I mean, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, 10-man's fun. I wish they brought back the ramping a little higher, though. I hate 10.5. It drives me crazy. I mean, I thought when they did 13.3, that was the perfect medium between 15.5 and 12.5. But 10 just drives me crazy. I can't. It just really bothers me every time I play 10.5 now. Even on semi, like you can't even shoot. You can shoot faster in semi than you can on 10.5.
Yep. Julian will agree with me on this one. There's classic guys that shoot mech guns, 13, 14 balls a second. I myself can shoot a mech gun faster than 10 balls a second. And that gives people, something to chew on with the ramping. So I can see where you're saying that.
Yeah. It's weird too. I feel like when NXL switched their ramping formula from the PSP, it almost, the gun takes a second to like register your speed.
Yeah.
Like it almost, like the first 2-3 balls that come out of the gun now are slower than what your fingers are actually moving, and then it ramps up to 10. I don't understand why it does that. It's almost like true semi when the PSP tried that before they collapsed. Like if you don't register the perfect number of shots, it won't go into ramping quickly.
Yep. Understand. And so from a start and competitive side, that's where you started, and you played in college, and you play competitive. Is that your preferred format? Is competitive paintball more than big games or any of that?
Yeah, I like speedball mostly. I've always preferred it. I'm not good enough to play in the woods, man. I need to get closer to hit somebody.
It's funny. It's funny that you mentioned good enough to play in the woods, because that's a subjective comment. Some people are dismissive of the woods ball players, and some people, say that that's a completely different skill set, and I'm not ready to venture in that, arena. So I can see it both ways. I don't necessarily agree with it both ways, but how about you, Rob? How did you start in the game?
So I actually started playing in the woods with my dad around 2007, 2008. I was going down to Florida to visit family. We had a free day, so we went to Hot Shots to play in the woods.
Okay.
Ton of fun, and I had a blast, but it was kind of peak Vipers era, and being able to walk up on a Sunday and see the Vipers playing, that's really how I got into wanting to play competitive. And I started playing competitively when I was in high school after World Cup 09, which is the first tryout that I had. And I played through high school and then played in the NCPA at Temple with Ken. And that's really where I more of a passion came about it than just kind of going to go play like a local 5-man event or something with some friends.
Yep. Now, I want you both can go on this one. The NCPA originated, the originator, Chris, was from Wisconsin in my area. I met him. I saw the creation of this. Tell me how you guys experienced how the college, program and how the whole thing is, give us an insight to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rob.
Okay. College paintball is hands down the most fun paintball that you'll play if you have the chance to play it. So the only requirement to be able to play college paintball is that you have to be a full-time student. And it's also some of the cheapest paintball that I ever played. And especially if you get to play Class A, which is the closest thing to true X-ball. It's 2 10-minute halves. And when you go down to college nationals, which is like the World Cup of college paintball, there is no mercy rule, which is cool. So, I mean, you'll see some games that are like 12 or 13-1. Then you'll see some nail biters that are like 8-7. It's a really interesting game to watch, especially because it's open class. You can have anybody that's never played paintball before and it's their first time playing paintball to, I mean, one year University of Omaha, Nebraska was 6 guys from Vicious at the time. Mm-hmm. They actually lost in the finals to, I believe, Penn State, which I will give him credit. Michael Zapantis called it that year, saying that Penn State was going to win because they lost to Cal State in a nail biter the previous year. So it's really a toss up, and you'll see everybody's a college student, so it's an extension of spring break. I mean, I've been to World Cup now twice, and I still appreciate college nationals more than World Cup just because of the environment.
Understand.
And you, Ken, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it was the most fun I ever had playing. And the format, I just love the format. I like X-Ball. I always enjoyed X-Ball. Like I played USPA when it was played out OXCC in Chesapeake City, Maryland.
Okay.
So I played a few of those events, and I really enjoyed X-Ball. And college paintball is the closest that got to that. And I thought it did a really good job. Kind of, you don't have they shoot a shit ton of paint when you're doing X-Ball. And college paintball, like they kept it under control, so you didn't shoot a ton, but you still got that same feeling.
Yep. Makes sense. And the interesting thing is that I've had some former players of mine that were young guys, went on to college, went and played, and they feel the exact same way. Where it was just, I honestly haven't heard anything negative about it, and that speaks volumes of it. So if Chris is out there and if everything, if anybody wants to talk about anything that way, we can discuss that as well, because it's something that's necessary, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Jules, how's everything on your end?
It's going well. As of now, we are on stay at home, so just kind of doing
So,
thing.
so that means
Good.
that you'll be available more, and that's a good thing. It's great
Uh,
for everyone.
Potentially between juggling it between daughter and a wife. Yes.
Right, right. Fantastic. Hey guys, why don't you tell me? Some of the guys are lighting up the request line here about your pants. People have been talking about your pants. I don't know if that's exactly what you want to talk about right now, but please, with everybody lighting me up, tell me about your pants, please.
Yeah. So Ken and I, and actually we had another business partner that's no longer part of the company. Just some life decisions. He went another way. Great guy though. What we saw in the industry was a gap that we wanted to fill. We wanted something that was really lightweight, a little bit more tapered, kind of getting away from the bagginess that the industry was kind of going with. Very minimalistic in design when it comes to branding. I mean, we've all been playing for a little while now, and we see a lot of logos getting slapped on gear. And we wanted to create a product where if you buy our product, it's a pair of pants that you're buying not necessarily for the name, but for the quality of the product.
Right.
People know us by how good the product is, and not necessarily because I hear this name a lot or I see this logo a ton. And we are the original slim, all black, no branded pant. So we did a little bit of a disservice to ourselves not putting any branding on it, but it's cool to see that I do all the media for the company and going around at NXL events and or some the local fields or local events, having people come up to me and say, "Hey, I've seen these pants. I don't know much about them. Like, tell me more. Like, how did you guys come to do it?" And Ken's process in constructing these pants is way above and beyond than I think a lot of the industry has gone. I think Ken could tell a little bit more about like how we designed it.
Please do.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, my process kind of starts with looking at what other industries are doing to get ideas, designs. I mean, the ultimate goal, I think, of any pair of pants should be super lightweight. It should be really flexible at any cost, and it should be durable, of course. So basically, when we were doing the KP1s, I spent a lot of time looking at fabrics used by a company called Cry Precision.
Okay.
They make combat gear specifically for special operations troops, and a company called Arc'teryx. And we came across this fabric called Tweave. It was actually developed by Arc'teryx in the early 2000s to use in mountaineering pants. So it's made with like a nylon, and it basically around that nylon is a core of elastic. And so it makes the pants super stretchy, but you get the durability of nylon as well without the downsides of the elastic. So we built the pants around that concept and that fabric. And then so it started with the top, and then from there on down, we really chose fabrics that are durable, breathable. For example, like our knee panels on the KP1s were made with 1000D Cordura nylon. But unlike other companies in the industry that use a coated nylon that you see in a lot of luggage, because 1000D is luggage weight fabric, we had it uncoated. So the fabric wasn't coated with a heavy polyurethane to block out water. So it makes the pants much more breathable than you would say like a traditional pair of pants. Just removing that coating alone helps it feel like it's more comfortable for the user. And then from there, I basically start constructing patterns, and usually takes me about 5 to 6 patterns before I'm able to send it off to the manufacturer, and then they kind of perfect it and professionalize it and make sure it's something that can be produced rapidly.
Wonderful. Rob, do you have anything to add on your side of that?
Yeah, yeah. In addition to that, we were really the trailblazers, and we were the first company to do something different as made to measure pants. So our outlook on our gear is that it's not just a pair of pants or a jersey or something. It's a tool and it's a piece of sporting equipment. If you're going to be shelling out $100 to almost $200, things should fit properly. I've known a couple of guys that are really tall and really skinny, so that now they have to say to themselves, do I want it to fit in the waist and my pants be really short, or do I want it to be really really baggy, but now they're long enough? And people were kind of going in that what's worse scenario. So that was a void that we wanted to fill, and it's a lot of people took up on it. It was a little bit of a struggle at first, but now you start seeing more and more companies offering either a made to measure or like an extended version or a shortened version, so that they can appeal to more sizes of people. People are starting to hop on the trend of saying, if I'm going to be buying a pair of pants and I'm going to be playing it in all season, they need to fit correctly, or I'm not going to be able to perform at the level that I can really perform at.
Yeah, right. I actually hem all pants in house. Like I take care of all the orders, and so everything that goes out the door, like that's been hemmed by me. So we always make sure it fits perfectly. And if it doesn't, send it back and we'll do it again for you.
And you have a strict, it seems like the strict quality control process. And like you just said, if it doesn't fit or doesn't work out, send it back and we'll make sure that it does.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you're going to pay $165 for our pants, it better fit perfectly and it better perform perfectly. I don't think anyone should pay that much and have a pair of pants that fails on them in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, what have some of your product testers, teams that have played? Is it strictly airball teams? Who are some of those players? I'm sure that you've had a lot of feedback with players and people like that. So fill me in on that.
Yeah. So because we both met in college and we really did the whole NCPA route, our initial going into market was finding people that play airball and play competitively, just because those are the people that we knew, and it was the easiest way to penetrate the market. So we've had a couple of teams anywhere from D4 all the way up through semi-pro in our pants, testing them out for, I believe, before we went to market with our original pair of pants, we tested them for about a year and a half. Kind of going through different versions, doing a couple of different fabric tweaks to really dial in what we wanted to use and really perfect that first pair. Because especially it's a little bit of a crowded market. You gotta outshine someone in some way.
Right.
So, yeah, and it's not just fabric tweaks too. It's like panel placement too is a big part of our design. Like I spent a lot of time making sure the knee panels were sewn at a very particular point on the pants to make sure that they don't rip. Our crotch is designed in a way that we've never had a single crotch rip in our pants. Never had a knee panel rip off the seam.
Bold statement. Yeah, that's fantastic, because we've all been there. I've seen it. So continue. Didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, I know it's a bold statement. I mean, we've had rips that happens.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but we try to take, when it does happen, we take care of them. We've patched pants where we have to. We've sewn them back up. But in terms of like the critical ones where like the top knee seam rips or the crotch rips, we've never had any problems with that specific rip.
Yeah, and we also work with our customers when they do have a rip. It's not necessarily, hey, how can we fix this if we want to have good customer service, but we really bring in our customers into the process of, hey, what happened? Where were you playing? Where you slide, or do you slide a certain way? Or like, are you playing on mainly turf comparatively to grass? We really bring our customers and our teams into the process so that it just doesn't become a transaction, but more of it's a learning process. How do I take this incident and use it for the better to make a better product down the line?
Mhm.
Right. And to speak on Rob's point, that's all data for us. Like that's beneficial. Like every time someone comes to us and says, "Hey, I've had an issue with your pants," that helps me down the long run. Because it's like our next pair of pants we're coming out with in June, the KPS, like that's been designed solely from data we've gone back on the KP 1.5s and the KP 1s.
Yep.
So like the knee panels we've completely redesigned to be able to work better on turf, because we found that for just some turfs, because of the way the plastics rub against each other, because you have nylon plastic and plastic turf,
Yep.
it just burns holes. Like the heat that's generated wears out the fabric a lot quicker. So we've worked with a company in Minnesota, actually, Super Fabric. Yeah, almost our pants are entirely made in the U.S., by the way, as well.
That's another good, very good.
Yeah. But we worked with this company in Minnesota, and basically they create this template and they place it on a like 30 by 20 inch sheet of fabric, and then they literally 3D print little tiny resins, like little resin like plates onto the fabric, and it bonds into the fabric.
Wow.
And that is basically allows the pants to be pretty freaking indestructible in terms of the knee areas.
That's technology. And the thing is that it's, some people think it's as simple as cut and paste and, I'll sew this and wham bam, there you go. It's the amount of research that you've put into it is obviously, obvious, because of you constantly evolving the product. That's how it is. You see something, there's going to be limitations, you adapt, you overcome, and that's a great way and a pretty necessary way to do business, especially in paintball.
Yeah, well, it actually basically it's been about 2 years developing the KPS. After we almost started immediately after we released the KP ones, because it took me about a year to finally get this company to do what I wanted them to do. Because most companies take this super fabric, they're usually just pre-made sheets. They're not custom printed like ours. And then they sew them into a very specific portion of the pants. Well, if you do that, the pants are going to weigh a ton because it's pretty heavy, this resin. So we finally got them to basically just print on a very specific area of the fabric. And as you just showed on the page a minute ago, if you scroll down, it's now only printed exactly where your knee is going to line up. But we've kept the seam where that panel connects to the pants high,
Yep.
which is what we did with the KP1s to prevent rips.
Yep.
Because the higher the seam is on the pants, the less stress that seam takes. The fabric takes more of the stress than the seam.
Makes complete sense.
It took us a while to get the company to finally try this this approach, and it's come out great so far. We're just kind of finishing up little issues here and there to get them to make sure that the sizing for all 5 sizes matches the paneling. So we're almost done with that. Yeah.
And then from a product standpoint, I know that you can tell some things and some things that you can't because it's, proprietary or, lock and key. Hey, that's what we're doing. Are you focusing majorly on pants, or is there another direction that you're also looking at going in?
Yeah. So I could chime in here on this one. So as a company, there's some things that are proprietary, but we're actually very transparent about what we do and the direction that we're going, and people actually really appreciate that. We want to be open with people. We want to hear what people are looking for in products, where we can venture into and kind of fill those gaps. So we do have a couple products that are kind of inline prototyping that we've been prototyping for a while. One is a beanie. It's like a performance beanie, and it's based off of a beanie that Ken has let me wear, and I wore it in Vegas. It's like a wool beanie that I think we're changing the fabric on, but soldiers in Afghanistan wear them underneath their helmets, So it's super comfortable to wear, but it's also very breathable.
And a question is, I know beanies are super popular. For some reason, with me, it irritates my forehead or whatever, and it might be that it's because it's usually a synthetic fiber. You mentioned wool, and I'm just grabbing that out of there, saying that I don't know if there's other beanies that are made with wool. Are you making it with wool because of people having issues like that?
So I'll jump in there. The fabric is, we're probably going to use a polyester, 100D. Like, and basically what the polyester is, it's made by Polartec. They actually, in addition to making fleece, they also actually make moisture wicking fabrics.
Oh, okay.
And yes, it's part of their business model, surprisingly. But they actually have a fabric where it's 2 layers of polyester sheets that are kind of smushed together. I don't know if they're glued. I think they're knitted together somehow. I don't quite understand how they do it. But the one layer is to wick the moisture away, which is the one on your skin. And then the second layer is actually to spread that moisture out to the top layer of the fabric to evaporate quickly. So this beanie is basically keeps you cool and dry, unlike a traditional beanie, which is usually made of, I think it's rayon. I can't remember the material they usually use to make. Right. Yeah. But it's like a polyester performance. We could use wool, but problem with wool is it just gets really expensive, man. Like merino wool to get it's really cost prohibitive, and I don't see someone paying for that. I mean, if you ever look at merino wool t-shirts, they cost about $60 for like mass produced merino wool nylon t-shirts.
Yep.
And it's a great fabric. I mean, wool breathes beautifully, it moisture wicks, it doesn't get cold. I mean, doesn't lose its heat properties, so it's like 25% wet. Like it's super impressive, but it's just I don't think the market would be there given the cost.
Understand, and that makes sense. It was just one of those things that I don't often get to talk to people who manufacture these things and develop these products, where it's just like, I think that the beanies are great. I think that they look great. I think all of that, but just for some reason, and I usually have a ton of hair, it's just a beanie. It doesn't fit on this big of a dome. So I get that.
Yeah. No, as I said, I'd love to make stuff out of wool if people would pay for it, because again, it's a super cool fabric and it's really natural and it doesn't smell, and there's so many benefits to wool. It's just it's expensive.
Now, Justin, I'll pull that clip up again. Justin said that you make great winter hoodies.
Yes, he would say that.
Well, if he has one, he must really like it. So tell us about that winter hoodie.
He lives about 20 minutes away from me, and he has my hoodie right now. So
okay. Give me back my hoodie. No.
Yeah. But it's we're in the process of designing a hoodie that's meant to be able to play, but as well as casually wear. So Ken can tell a little bit more about the specs, but it's utilizing some of this Polartec fabric, as well as using some design features from snow equipment, like snowboarding jackets and stuff, so that the idea is players can wear something as light as a t-shirt and this hoodie, and it can still be 20 degrees outside, and you're still warm playing in it. Because, I mean, you're in Minnesota, I'm from the Northeast, and I know a lot of other people from Canada and stuff. When it's cold and you're stacking a lot of layers, your mobility is really restricted. So we really want to try to combat that, so that guys that are getting ready for Vegas and they got to wear all these layers, that you can still practice how you're actually going to play at the event, instead of kind of it's a little tough to kind of move around bunkers, or like my snapshot it isn't as quick as it could be because I got 3 shirts and a hoodie on.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say we're designing. I can't say how we're designing it at the moment because we're not released it yet. But we've come up with ways to make it more comfortable to wear a pack with these hoodies, so you don't, because like you put a hoodie on and you put your pack on, it's like all bunched up and it feels crap. So
I get it.
You know what you're talking about from Minnesota.
Yep. And the funny thing is that preparing for Vegas, even when we went down to Texas, all the guys in Texas, or a lot of the guys, were wearing hoodies when they play. The dudes on Grit, we're shout out to the Grit guys, we're rocking those hoodies. So I see that there's a market there for you, but especially being from, there's still snow on the ground out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'd still be rocking a hoodie if I left the house. So it makes complete sense to have it form and function and be able to be a paintball centric and a product that helps in multi-use.
Yeah, exactly. And we're hoping we can do it this year. It just really depends on finances. Like that's our biggest constraint as a small company is we really have to focus on 1 to 2 products a year. Especially with the KPS, we've dumped a ton of R&D into that product to get it to where it is now, and that's kind of be our model going forward to basically build off that pair of pants to build other lines.
Mm-hmm. And when I saw on the page that it was set up for a pre-order, let me, if you can see my screen, it's in with the with the coronavirus, it throws everything off, but this is what we're at. It says around June of 2020. The website is the kineticpaintball.com. So if guys want to go out and check that out, is there any place else other than the kineticpaintball.com? I'm sure you have Facebook, and all the social media stuff. I'm an old guy when it comes to that. So please tell me how other people can get in touch with you if they want to check out this product.
Yeah, the Kenetic page, our Instagram page, and then Facebook is primarily the ways to get in contact with us about our product. And we're always happy to answer any questions you have. And as you know, as Rob said, we take people through the process of like you pre-order from us, like we'll show you every little inside detail about how we get to where we are at the end.
Perfect. Now, with that, I've been talking with Julian, with Jules about this, and I was wondering if you're ready with some of your questions, because we've worked it out where it's this kind of give and take with Jules and I, because Jules plays with Ground Zero out of the New York area, but they have players from all over the globe. He's playing the ICPL, but he basically plays every style and format. He's very, very particular about the stuff that he uses. So he's told me that he's had some good questions to go, and I would like to turn it over to Jules for a little bit if you're ready to go, Jules. Okay, you have the mic control, so you can unmute yourself there, bro.
Yeah, no, I want to make sure sometimes there's the feedback. So,
Yep.
Rob and Ken, guys, thank you so much. It was great to hear everything. I actually have a good friend of mine, Bill Raber, who has a pair of your guys' pants and can only say the best things about them. So
Love
I
Bill.
actually, me too. He's one of my best buds, and I truly have known him for years. So I reached out to him prior to this and said I was going to ready to speak with you guys. I want to just kind of get, some back and forth, and obviously just kind of, promote you guys a little bit further and himself, because he's my buddy. Obviously, he's been wearing your guys' pants when he played with Justice in Europe with Kinetic Strike, and for a few years with the A team. So the Kinetic pants have been out, and at least if anyone can see Bill, if he ever makes it for something positive, I'm sure he's wearing your guys' pants because he only said positive things about them. So I at least had to give that, first shout out to you guys for that. So,
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, I have not had a chance to wear those, but I mean, he's someone that is, as you guys know, very literal. Let you know how it is.
Yes,
And
he was very direct.
Yep. So exactly, which is, it's not always for everyone, but it just, at least you know how it is.
Mhm.
So I just really enjoyed hearing you guys talk, and I was literally taking notes. So I literally just took just a few pages of notes while you guys were talking for 30 minutes. So
Yeah, no problem.
if these questions sound bouncing, I'm sorry. Do you guys climb? Does anyone climb? Because you guys mentioned Arc'teryx. I always say the name wrong. I actually have a chalk bag by them. So when you start talking about climbing and things like that, and mention that company, that was one of the first things that kind of came up to me when you were talking about durability, breathability, so on and so forth. Because I mean, obviously, we don't need to expand upon that to another market. They can find that. But, you know, when you're going out and climbing, you're trying to do simple gear, yada, yada, breathability. It's got to dry quick, so on and so forth. Durability, you got to beat it up. If you can live on a wall with it, then you could surely slide on anything that we would play paintball with, and hopefully it will survive.
Yeah, actually, so both of us, I don't climb. I have a cousin that does a lot of climbing. He's ex special forces, and he's climbed like Mount St. Helens and stuff. And he's actually a resource that we've tapped into a couple times, and we're gonna be using him a little bit more as we design some more products. Just because he's one of those, he's an outdoorsman. He's one of those guys. He's going to put a beating on anything that he uses. And actually, a friend of mine, Corey Lampkin, up in the Toronto area, he actually wore a pair of KP1s to go indoor climbing with. So it's really funny how you bring that up, because if you go a little ways back on our Instagram page, you'll see a picture of him climbing.
Yeah, I don't climb. I came across Arc'teryx just doing research on fabrics that were stretchable and durable. That was really how I came across them, and I looked into them a little bit more to learn more about the company, look at how they're designed, how they design their products. So that's my familiarity with them.
Okay, right on. And obviously, Rob, you said you went to school at Temple in Philly?
Yeah, so did Ken.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Awesome. All right. So I went to school at Cabrini, just there outside of Villanova. So I'm
Okay.
going to say, where do you like your cheesesteak from? And then I'll say, where do I like it and how do you like it?
D'Alessandro's.
Yeah, I'd have to go D'Alessandro's too.
Okay. I'm a Jim's on South, extra whiz and onions. That's how I like it.
All right. That's respectable.
and obviously, look, 3 people went to school near, in, or out Philly. No one said Pat's or Geno's.
That's terrible.
They're terrible.
I know. Thank you. Frozen steaks. I know, but that was the comment to be like, there we go. So I'm like writing down questions. So I have to like look at it as fast as I can say it. And,
I can hear the keyboard smashing from Philly state fans out there.
No, they're all
it's
agreeing
the
with us.
people that really know. The people that know.
Yeah,
it's it is what it is. The people that know.
D'Alessandro's, Jim's, Phillips. You know, I mean, those are all the good places.
I've heard some people say Ishkaboos.
Ishkabibbles?
Yep.
Yep.
So, I mean, I played indoor at Rizzo Rink. So, and then when I only get to sit on my assault bike and watch old Philly Bob movies, then hear, the real stories about Frank Rizzo, I'm like, this is great. This is great. Just to hear, cars just drive over 95. It was Washington Street exit.
That's fantastic.
So one of the things I want to say, I'm sorry, I'm bouncing here. I'm going to cut off because it's my turn.
It's just friends. It's just friends, Jules.
No, totally. I really thought that one of the cool things I got to hear you guys talk about was having that higher end kind of like tailor type pant. And one of the things that kind of made me think about it when we were talking about climbing gear, I also thought about when you guys were talking about your sweatshirts, that you guys really even put, something as a sweatshirt through the process. And then I thought of a climbing pack, because one of you guys mentioned a climbing pack, and it made me think of this company called Kuyu, which makes a designer climbing pack that you can adjust upon the different weights and things like that. So you really can tell that the process in which you guys are putting even a pant or a sweatshirt through. has a lot of thought and development and truly tech brought to it. And thus, obviously, it makes it have a higher price tag. And I think that yes, exactly. Pat and Geno's are garbage.
I had to throw that
I
up.
think
I'm
that
sorry. I didn't mean to. James is
no,
bringing the
it's
heat.
awesome. It's awesome that I
bringing
get to
the
see
heat.
that. And I'm trying to pull like 4 different notes together, but I think that that's really cool because I'm involved in a climate change committee, and we were involved with a couple different clothing companies, which then broadened the scope. And then one of the companies that I'm a fan of is Outer Known, which is Kelly Slater company, and I'm not trying to name drop anything, but a company like that, has a higher price market of even something like a sweatshirt, and it's coming from recycled fishing nets and things like that. And not that you guys are doing something like that, but you're using companies that have a global sense and a global stretch. So to have something that is a little bit more higher priced, but at the same point in time, it's a tailor marketed product, I think is really great. And I don't really have a question beyond that, but I think that is really great. And I got to just hear a lot of things. And I just was, I know nothing about you guys, but just hearing positive things within that first 40 minutes. So I've just been taking
Outer
notes.
Known.
Yeah,
Outer Known
go ahead,
came
Ken.
up with a really cool. Getting back to we're talking about wool. Outer Known just came out with a board short that's entirely made of merino wool. It's really cool. Like, still dries perfectly, doesn't pick up water. I don't know how the hell they did it, but it's a pretty cool product that they came out with.
One of the guys, they've got a podcast, the Firewire podcast. One of the earlier ones actually has one of the guys from Outer Known that does all the designing. And they were talking about all of those guys just traveling to Indonesia and just being in warehouses filled with old fishing nets and just piles and piles and piles of fishing nets. And how can we take these and make these into something? So, I basically was sold off of the pants within 30 minutes from just having the little bit of knowledge and care that I do because of what I'm involved in. So to know that you guys really are, having that, at least in my head, that back end forethought is awesome. So it's great to hear that. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Yeah, we take a lot of pride in our product, and the best thing is when you go to, like, I went to a national event last year in Philadelphia, is getting to see a bunch of people wear it that I didn't know. When you start seeing people that you don't know wearing your gear, it's
Right.
a really cool feeling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, in addition to that, it's, as a company, like, we really try to bring value to especially our teams. The teams that fully buy in, they trust the process, fully sponsored. And I mean, shout out to teams like Brawl, Caprock Cavalry, Wolfpack, people that have kind of been with us since the beginning. Something that we do as part of our sponsorship is that at national events and NXL specifically, we give away free media. I mean, it's something in today's day, like, a lot of people, like, you're going to events, you're traveling the country, like, I want to get some pictures, you know what I mean? And to go into an event and say, hey, sign up with us. You're going to pay a little bit more for pants than most competitors. But you know what? I'm going to save you at least $1,000 in paying for media over the course of the season. You know what I mean? So it's the little things where we try to, like I said before, we're trying to fill in those gaps of what players want, players need, and to bring that value to them. Some people see it, some people don't. But I mean, the teams that have been with us for now a year and a half, they get it and they love it. They can't say anything really bad about us, and they're a part of our process.
Right.
Our teams, they test out prototypes whenever we have them. We send them samples. We want them in somebody that any shape or size to try it out and say, hey, tell me how you feel. I can get your average person, but I want the outlier. Tell me how you feel though. What did you think about them? You know what I mean? Give me the brutal, honest opinion, because that's the only way that we're going to grow.
And I just pulled up a video because I like to do this kind of stuff, and this was one of your prototype videos, and it shows exactly what goes into it. I'm looking at the right stuff, correct, Ken? This is you?
Yeah, I sewed some of those pants myself, entirely by myself. So yeah, that's kind of what into those. That was like almost near the end of the process, right before we started going into production. Yeah.
But this is a great representation of the detail and the concept of it, because now you said that yes, you're providing media, but what is it? What's the media company that you're promoting? Is it Kinetic Media as well, or is it just under the Kinetic brand?
So as media, well, first, this video was taken before I even took the dive in the media. Shout out Fava Photography. Also another Temple alumni did us a huge solid and was shooting some of our friends. So he sent us some of the footage for us to use.
Wonderful.
Big help. But I actually started in photography, let's see, about a year. Wow. Like about a year and a half ago. It really went. I've always wanted to do it, never had the ability. It's doing photography correctly. It's a pretty deep monetary investment, so we were struggling a little bit for content, and so I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna buy a camera, top end camera, top end lens. I already knew a bunch of media people, so like Fava, who does stuff for Planet Eclipse. Actually, and now like we kind of we created our own media gang, which is myself, All in Media, Absolute Lads, Nina Kanowitz, love Doug, he's amazing, can't get enough of him. Stretch. I mean, we have a really great group of guys that have a lot of knowledge and a lot of people know about. And myself, Flockhouse Photos, little watermark and little name as an ode to college. But yeah, so I go to all the events and shoot all of our sponsor teams for free. That way they get that extra value. You know what I mean? They get the memories from the event.
Yep.
I mean, it's something that it becomes an afterthought. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people will reach out to myself or just like some of the other media guys, and people will say, "Hey, did you get any pictures of me?" Like, it's like, you didn't hire me, so like maybe not. I'm not quite sure, but like now all of our
check out Kinetic Paintball, and you might see a photo or two. Yeah,
exactly. So like, I mean, I prioritize our fully sponsored teams, and then I see if I know some other people that are playing, maybe one or two guys on a team that have our pants. Like, I'll try to make it to a game, try to get a couple pictures, and it's people appreciate that. You know what I mean? It's that extra mile that we
added value. Yeah. Added value. You care about the product. You built the product. You want to keep the product going and going forward in always revising and making it better. And now you're taking photos and guys can see themselves in it. It's great. I understand exactly why you do it.
Thank you. So, I mean, last year for 2 events, we were able to do both photos and video, which is pretty cool for some of our teams. It's definitely a lot of work. I had a big help from a friend. He came out on a limb and wasn't really getting paid. He just did us a huge solid, and he had a blast. Somebody actually, Jeff Albertini, he was my roommate for 3 years, and he was somebody that I really got me into paintball media. And if it really wasn't for him and living with him for 3 years, I don't know if I would be here right now taking pictures.
Well, we all have people to thank that helped us get where we're trying to get to, especially in paintball. It's a great brotherhood, and usually people take care of each other. So it's one of those things where, in this time, I wanted to sit down and talk with people who I knew and you guys contacted me, and I was fascinated with the conversations that we were having. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to sit down and learn more about Kenetic and the products that you were putting out, because it was fascinating and I was hearing good things about it. So I wanted to thank you guys for that. But what I also want to do is take both the time for both of you to, thank personal friends, sponsors. It doesn't matter. This isn't, TV, but I want to give you guys a platform to thank people who helped you to get to where you're at, and, shout out to anyone that you want. Whoever wants to start out, feel free.
First, definitely shout out to our teams that are fully sponsored. I mean, without them and without any of the rest of our customers believing in us and trusting the process, we definitely wouldn't be here. Shout out to Temple Paintball. If it wasn't for Temple and the school, like, we wouldn't have come together. Sean Carlin and his Field Crusader, OXCC, Battle Creek Paintball. I mean, there's a lot of support within the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast area that really believed in us. And definitely shout out to my family. Little tidbit: both my parents have worked in textiles, and my mom currently still works in textiles. And between both my mom and my dad, they have about 50 years of textile experience from a manufacturing standpoint that really helped us put us in the position of where we are now, with the smallest details of going into meetings with factories and pattern makers. If we didn't have that information, we would definitely be lost.
Understand.
Yeah, I like to add to that. I like to thank our Kickstarter backers. Those guys put up money, and we were nobodies. No one knew who we were. We had a few samples, we had a video, and they were willing to put up money, and then waited almost a year and a half to get their pants, because it took us so long to kind of get the process. And they all stuck with us except for Imai, but you came back in the end, so it's all good. We forgive you.
Saw the light.
Yeah. But those guys are the best. Like that's a huge trust thing, to give someone your money and then wait a whole year and a half to get that product. And we really appreciated that, because that money was critical to getting these off the ground. And then I guess the last thing would be just thank my wife for letting me invest our money in this company. So
thank you, Tanya.
Yeah, thank you, Tanya.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Jules, do you have any questions? I know that you're feverishly writing there. I saw a little bit of a wardrobe.
Just for a few more questions and things like that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I got as much time as you guys want.
Awesome. I appreciate that very much. Okay, so I guess because again, I'm flipping through pages. So, Rob, you were talking about having a family textile background. What is your family textile background?
So my dad, a long time ago, he used to be a pattern maker, which is essentially the very beginning of designing any type of garment. So it starts off with a paper pattern, and then it becomes digitized, and from there you then grade it, which is because when you make a product like a shirt or like a sweatshirt or anything, you make one size, and with that paper pattern going to digitizing it, and the process of grading is essentially increasing or decreasing the length of seams so that you make your other sizes. My mom, shout out my mom, love her to death. She works for a company called Franco Manufacturing. They make home textiles. Their clients are Walmart, Target, Amazon, all these big box retailers, and she is an absolute legend in the game when it comes to home textiles and manufacturing.
I think he forgot that he turned his
He
mic.
definitely forgot that he muted himself.
It's okay.
Yep,
Jules.
I did. Thank you. See, I'm trying to be like up to date and just not have feedback. Yada yada.
Love the hat, by the way.
I try. That was my little bit, my ode to Philly, and I even texted the wife. I was like, "Can you bring me my Philly hat?" And she was yes dear. So
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate
I
that.
figured that was at least that little bit of love. It's like at least not so fake. I mean, obviously, I mentioned where I like. So, I mean, Ken, do you have a background in textiles as well? If I missed it in the beginning, I'm sorry. I know
Absolutely
I came in
none.
late.
I basically just got really sick of wearing pants that I didn't like, so I just one
Okay.
day made my own. That's pretty much. I kind of just looked up online, figured out how to make a pattern. I mean, I guess we could talk about how we actually started. We never really explained that.
Yeah, if I missed
Feel
that,
free.
I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
kind of
so
looking
it's
not
kind
for
of
like, hey, how'd you guys meet? Obviously, I could tell there was a little bit of a connection, but I was like, and I'm, obviously, at least I'm paying attention.
yeah. So as you know, Rob and I met at Temple when I was in law school and he was in college, and so I just got fed up wearing pants because they were super baggy and they never fit me in the length. I'm that skinny, tall guy that nothing ever fits. The closest pants I ever got to that I really liked were Empire Contact Zeros. Like I felt like they were pretty lightweight, relatively breathable, and I was always happy with them. But I wanted to make something different, so I bought an XL pair of sweatpants, and it didn't have any side seam because I wanted to have as much freedom on the pants. And I basically copied that. I took them apart, copied it onto like a separate sheet of paper, and then just started drawing lines to get my seams. And then from there, I added seam allowances and created the first KP1s off of that. And that was just basically me fooling around with a 1950 Singer sewing machine, trying to figure out how the hell this even works. Kind of messing around in the dark, and then over time now I've learned how to make a pattern a little bit better. Like I bought the books and I taught myself, and so but that's how it started. It was basically just me messing around with my mom's sewing machine that I took from her and taking a pair of sweatpants and drawing lines on it to create my seams, and from there that's how the KP1 started.
And then, so how did you two guys ultimately end up meeting?
Oh, so I brought the pants because I, not knowing how to sew, I brought the pants and they didn't fit me. I made them too short by like a good 4 inches. So they're like.
I'm glad that this was a good one. That was actually a good question.
Yes.
There's a good chuckle there. Good.
Yeah, so they're literally like
Where it
at my calf. Like they're super short. And I'm running around them. I love them. I'm like so happy with them. And Rob's like, Ken, what are you wearing? Let me try those pants on. Ken, come on. I'm like, all right, fine. And of course, I put them on Rob. They fit perfect. Like everything's perfect. So he ended up wearing them for like 6 months. I ended up making myself another pair and figuring out how to lengthen them. And then Rob was like, why don't we like me and our former business partner, Rob was like, why don't we make pants? Make some pants. I'm like, all right, here we go. And that's just kind of how it started. And
yeah,
hasn't stopped yet.
I was the first believer, and I put my money where my mouth was.
He did put his money where his mouth was, and he's probably regretting
and
it
plus
now.
in Philly, you can at least find a couple cheap copies to figure out whether you can do it or not. And then if it doesn't work, it didn't cost you too much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think he's clicking off and saying that's about all you have. Is that all you have, Jules?
No. I just didn't want to have like empty space and me breathing
Empty
in the
space.
microphone.
I got you. Dead air. That's the reason why I'm talking. I'm pulling the full DJ. The DJ. Well, it looks like he's done talking for now. How about this from Foghat?
It sounds like I care. No, truly I do. I'm just being facetious. Rob, you said something that really stuck out to me because in some of the business experience I have, it seems as though this statement was kind of a business philosophy of yours. You made it sound like you are trying not to have a transactional relationship, and you're looking for something more than that. So if you wanted to have a second to elaborate more on that, because I know that that's in essence what you guys are doing, but that was just kind of one of the things that I picked up on that. Honestly, that really stuck out to me more than anything. And obviously, just to give a shout out to my buddy Bill, he, emphasized that point of how much you guys care about your product and how it's being portrayed and so on and so forth. So again, just in that transactional relationship, that you're not looking for that. It's that something more. And just if you wanted a second to elaborate on that. And I think really that's the last bit of essence that I have, minus something not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I play paintball to have fun. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what we all got into paintball to do, was to have fun. So as to have a company in this sport, I've definitely found out that it's a lot of relationship building, and especially playing on Temple or playing on a couple different teams, it's having the relationship with your sponsor. You know what I mean? If your sponsor doesn't treat you well, it's like, why? I don't want to wear your stuff. Plain and simple. If you treat me well, it's like, I will do everything in my power to promote you and get you more business. And it's definitely paid off. I mean, we have like Brawl, semi-pro team, great group of guys. Some of them come to Ken's house to pick up pants from him and get tailored at his house. You know what I mean? The one-to-one connection that I can have, and especially being as like the leader of our media, especially at NXL events, I go to all my teams during their games. Is like, hey, what's up? Hang out for a little while. Try to show up like a little bit before their match. You know what I mean? See how they're doing. It's like, what's going on? Like, what's your record? Like, how are you guys trying to get better and get ready for this next game? And people appreciate it. You know what I mean? It's more than just walking up to like a larger company in the industry. Is like, hey, like, what can you do for me? Maybe I'll see you. Maybe you'll have a pro player as your rep. Do they ever come to the divisional fields? Maybe if they get knocked out on Sunday and you're still in, they'll stop by. Who knows? So the more FaceTime I have with our teams, like they like it, and I'm friends with all of them. I mean, shout out Tom Sellers, who owns SMP Paintball. Never really met the guy until like some of the Brawl guys started getting pants. Met him. He's one of the most genuine dudes I know. Also an absolute killer on the field, and he's just a stand-up person that I like being around. And that's just one of the great examples. Chris Straza, John Kreis, both on Wolfpack. You know what I mean? Early believers in what we're doing, and both of them have been playing paintball for years, and they've been around the block. So to be around people and to see that it's more than just, hey, like, I'm your sponsor, coming in to check up on you. Is everything working okay? It's like, no, hey, how you guys doing? You guys doing well? Like, I'm going to be here. I'm going to take some pictures, make some memories with you guys, and hang out. We'll go grab a beer like afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely the relationship building that I think has put us in a good place, just as a company and as an image wise. And I think and definitely shout out Chris Rangel. I mean, he does the same thing. I mean, all his teams love him. You know what I mean? He's a stand-up person. He tries to do the utmost best for his teams. You know what I mean? And I think it gets lost a little bit within paintball, especially as soon as you become a bigger and bigger company, just because you have more teams. It's tough to go see everybody. So as a small company, to be around the day ones, like, I think it's important.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I mean, we have fun doing this. Like, this is partly why we do Kenetic. I mean, this is like I wouldn't say a hobby, but it's a second job for us. We both have full-time careers in other industries, and we do this because we have fun. We like to hang out with our teams and meet new people, and that's the most rewarding part about doing this. As I said earlier, it's super rewarding to see someone walk down and wear your pants, and you have no idea who that person is, and go up and ask them, like, hey, how do you like the pants? Or talk to someone you like message you on Instagram about an issue, and then make sure, hey, did I solve it? Did I resolve all your concerns? And thanks for your continued support. Like, that's the best part.
Just so you know that Ken's a lawyer, by the way.
Well, I got that when he said law school,
Ah.
but I wasn't gonna say, hey, did you give up on law school to make pants there, Ken?
I think Tanya would kill him if he did.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna fly.
So deep down, there's a very weatherproof Kinetic suit out there that he's rocking for special occasions.
Right.
Oh, I have a jacket that I have been working on for a year and a half. For myself, I got this fabric from Italy. That's basically, yeah, here it comes. I found this fabric from Italy. It's basically down. They took feathers and then they like smashed it between 2 sheets of polyester and basically glued it together. So it's down without any of the channeling or the piping, and you just sew it straight into your jacket. So I took the tweed that we use on our pants and I'm making an outer shell, basically like a trench coat, and then we'll have the insulation of the down feathers and then cashmere on the inside. So
Wait, don't forget about the backpack that you made from hand.
I got the backpack too. I made, yeah, I even got that right here.
Oh wow.
All right, so keep in mind, I'll send you guys a DM afterwards for some private gear. But since it came from Italy, I don't know. Maybe you just leave it there in Philly.
No,
I don't know anymore.
It's fine. The
But,
textiles.
I mean, as of now, I'm on quarantine, so it's a stay at home for me now too. So we'll see.
That was like that fabric's been sitting in my house for 6 months, man. I haven't gotten anywhere close.
Oh, I know. I'm just pulling your leg. I had to at that point. I was like, oh, of course the wood plays. I was like, no. So no, but I really think
time
that's
for a
awesome.
Corona
really
joke is the one, perfect time for a Corona joke there. So
You gotta keep it light right now.
there is a an Instagram account that I follow that I'm not going to say, but it's pretty good. There's a guy out there doing something pretty awesome out there with pulling the tablecloths out under dishes and whatnot, and then this one involves a Corona bottle.
I've seen
just came
that
out today.
video. I know what video you're talking about.
Yep.
It's hilarious.
Yep.
It's amazing.
It is, and it's great with the clippers and everything.
Yep.
Here it is. And then, yeah, that's the one. Oh, it's great. Perfect.
Well, what I want to do is I want to make sure that I thank both Ken and Rob, and I'm sure I'll speak for both Jules and myself. Ken, Rob, I want to thank you for the time that you've spent with us today. I really appreciate the education on a quality product that you've produced in the past, that you're innovating to produce in the future for people who are happy with it. It's a great thing. I appreciate it. I know that paintball players appreciate it, and I encourage anyone who's interested in looking at your product to go out to kineticpaintball.com, follow your social media campaigns, and see how that is. And I want to also give you guys a chance to follow, for us to follow up. If you have any new products or whatever, please feel free to keep in touch with me. If there's anything that I can do to help you, promote it, I'm certainly there. I know Jules would probably be in the same boat. He's going to direct message you, and I'm afraid of some of the special requests that he might have for you, because I know this guy.
Oh, no, Bill. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I thank you, and thank you for your time, and thank you for everything. And if there's anything that you need to say before we go, this is it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been great.
I appreciate it. And we can do it again. I'm just trying to stack in as many as I can during these times, because people need distractions. And if anybody's out there that wants to, promote a product, their company, their paintball field, their store, feel free to contact me and we'll make something happen. So with that, I will say thank you guys very much for everything, and we will sign off unless anyone.
Yeah, have a good night. Thank you so much for having us.
I'll shake your hand at the next NXL event.
Absolutely, I will be there.
Thank you guys very much.
Whichever one it is, I will be there. So thank you guys very much, and have a great night. Thank you guys.
Well.
Thank you.
All right. See you.
Thank you, Jules. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Well, thank you guys for watching, talking to the team from Kinetic Paintball. I got educated on some pants. I'm sure that the people who listened also got educated, or maybe you even knew, and that's why you tuned in. So I want to thank everybody for their time. Have some more interviews later today and tomorrow coming up with people that you know. So again, thank everybody for your time, and we'll get through this together. Thank you, guys.